Are you ready for some footy? Yes, mate, I am. Footy finals are back. G'day, I'm your host, Jaymz Clements, not to be confused with Angelo Lekis. There's a blast from the past.
Who?
Leo, do you know Angelo Lekis?
Yeah, ex-Hawk, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Now,
I was going to say.
I didn't even know that.
paying attention there, everyone, apparently. This
go.
is the AFL Today show. We are live on the internet once more. This is, of course, brought to you by TopSport, the home of footy finals. We are joined, as usual, by a couple of local weirdos. Many would call them AFL experts, perhaps just full-blown footy nuffs. Over there, it's the little fella, the stats boy.
Yeah, I will never get tired of that intro, won't I? Yeah, pump for footy finals. We're up and about. Hockball is absolutely
Let's go,
flying, so
yes.
Leo's on the show, so very excited.
I would have expected this man, social boy Leo, to be on a treadly, like to go hang out and watch his Hawks play in Adelaide tomorrow, and instead he's here. Like, what's happening?
I just did not act fast enough to get tickets, unfortunately.
You can also wait for the grand final.
That's a bit fast. But, Jim, can you smell it? Semi-finals.
Semi-finals fever.
I can't smell it.
Okay, that's something else. That's BO.
I had yesterday I had a big case of footy finals fever, and just as the depression of the weekend of Brisbane beating in the head of Carlton.
He's been cured.
It sucks. I'm just like, hang on a second, my team's not here anymore. Like, I've got nothing to talk about. This sucks. But no, I do have a fever. It is finals fever. And before we get into a chockers Thursday night team show, so of course we are live, so we're going to be reading out
Lots of comments.
and all the good stuff that's rolling in, which is always great. So you better be subscribed to the YouTube so you can actually comment, because we'll be doing this for the Thursday shows from here on out. And of course, I don't know, we'll do a Brownlow show. It's going to have a lot of stuff going on. But either way, make sure you're getting around YouTube, Facey, IG, TikTok, X. And of course, what do you do the little bell on YouTube?
Yeah, got to get the bell.
Got to do the bell so you get your
All
notifications,
notifications,
when it
yes.
goes live. That's the big key thing there. When you go live, you get the thing that tells you it's going live. It's
Exactly.
great. We're scared. All right, let's do it. Let's do some news. We've got a few minutes before the teams kick in for these two massive semi-finals. But broken last night by our very good friend, guest of the program, recurring guest, one of our best mates, we'd say, Callum Dick. He reported that McAllion had signed a lengthy contract extension to the tune where it could be the longest and most lucrative.
This has got to be a joke, right? Like 12 million for a guy that hasn't even proven himself yet? Get out of it.
But
Like, come on, that is a joke.
But that's the thing there, Stats, man. So the Gold Coast Suns have gone to their amazing key position back, and also apparently forward, in your face, Essendon.
Swingman, yeah.
McAllion and gone, all right, here's a 5-year extension, and there's also a clause in your contract that could trigger an extra 4 years, which would make you the longest contracted player on our list, and just it could be worth as much as 12 mil over 9 years.
What do we think the clause is?
Health, I would say.
No, apparently, health, and I think it's to do with the amount of games he plays every year. So if he's still getting picked, because they're probably going, in this amount of time we're going to play a lot of finals. That's probably what they're thinking. If he's still in that finals team, then he's going to get that 9 years, which is unbelievable. I think there's Norton and there's someone else that has 2032 contracts.
Yeah.
He's could go all the way to 2034. This is that thing you were talking about last time about the years are just flying by.
I hate this. So it just makes me feel so old. Because as I've said time and time before, I remember talking NBA gear for the LeBron's decision. That was in 2010. And I'm like, they're all clearing cap space. 2010 will take forever to come around. It's 2024. What are we doing? LeBron's 400 million years old at this point. And the Knicks are relevant again. They were clearing as much cap space as they could.
Yes.
For like one of D Wade, Chris Bosh, LeBron, whatever.
It worked.
And instead they got Amari. And it didn't
Oh,
quite
for the
work
Knicks,
out.
yes,
But
yes,
anyway,
yes.
good stuff. McAllion, 2034, I can't deal with that. Like 2030 just hurts anyway, my brain.
I just don't like these long contracts. Like a big lanky guy like him, you don't know how his body's going to hold up, how good he's going to be. I do think he's going to be really good, but he's not even going to be in their top few
You think
players.
he's going to be really good? I think he's going to be a superstar.
Oh.
I genuinely think he's going to be one of the best players of the competition. That doesn't mean, though, I agree with the length of the contract.
Fair.
I think 2030 actually, that would be fine.
I agree.
Don't know about the extra clause, but I think he'll be an absolute gun.
I do feel like we should be capping them at 6 years.
Yeah,
Like
I'm happy
maximum
with that.
It's to do, we've talked about
5,
this
6.
out, right?
It's great for the club because as the salary cap goes up,
they have to
and eats
pay
up
him less technically.
percentage, you're laughing. But at the same time, I think there's just so many known unknowns as you get into like
That's
those
true,
extra years. You're like, in 8 years' time, what could happen?
Yeah.
Who no one knows clearly.
That's my theory. I
And
do
it's
agree
just
he's going to
weird.
be a gun.
But I think he's an absolute weapon, and I think his skill set is exactly perfect for the modern AFL game.
I think Gold Coast, the last point I'll make on it is like so many players leave. So they're like,
Yeah,
we finally just want to lock someone in because Rankin obviously left. King was thinking about leaving.
Lukosius might leave.
So they're like, all right, whoever we can lock in, we're just giving 12 mil. And they're just like, Mac can do.
Me and my best mate Jed Walter, we're going to get a house together.
He doesn't.
Big brother.
Other extensions, Buku Kamas, 2-year extension
like that,
down
yeah.
at the Dogs, and same with Taylor Duray and Lockie McNeil.
Yep.
They both signed deals today too. So
Taylor
the Dogs
Duray?
going, how can we lock in a 7th place finish for the next year? So what do you reckon?
I was going to say, none of them are standing out, but I do think Buku has a
Buku Kamas
decent
is-
future, yeah.
He popped off, like especially when Liam Jones wasn't there this year. Like I feel like
Good intercept marker.
was just really, really, really good for them. And I don't mind that. Other, I guess, list news is the Dockers delisted Matt Taberner, who kicked, 37 goals 2 years ago?
Well,
3 years
even
ago?
I think he made the AA squad in 2020
He
with
did,
29 goals.
Wow.
I think that's
he was really good for like a
Injuries-
3-year stretch, but then so many injuries have
Injuries
cost
absolutely
him.
ruined him.
Was he good, or was it just like they had no one else
That's true.
on the list that could
He
play
kicked
key forward?
47 goals and then 44 goals in 2018,
40,
2019.
okay, I'll give him
So
some
that's
credit.
more than 2
Okay.
goals a game he was averaging 2018, 2019. Then he kicked 37, 42. So he was pretty consistent.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
For a guy that's undersized, but he's
not
dropped off a cliff.
He's
since
not
then.
going to overtake Tracy or
Amiss.
All I'm
Voss.
saying is, as a
Yeah,
North
Voss.
fan, I'd rather him than Josh Kennedy.
Oh, there you go.
Josh Kennedy.
Oh, sorry, not Josh
I think
Kennedy.
bring back Josh Kennedy for North.
Josh Kennedy.
To be
Jack
honest,
Darling.
he might be better than Jack
might be
Darling.
better.
I'll say that much.
Sorry, Jack
The
Darling.
wrong guy retired.
I would
The
rather
wrong guy.
the crab, as some people, the Freo fans call him.
They call him the
Crabinar.
crab.
Yeah, sometimes. Tabernar than Jack Darling. That's for sure.
I'd agree with that, to be honest.
Other list news. Jake Stringer. There are whispers that he's done in Essendon. What a surprise. My favourite part is Collingwood fans trying to wrap their heads around them going and getting Jake Stringer. They're just like, I don't want to do it. Sorry. I'll Collingwood it up. Oh, I don't want to do it. There we go. Nailed it.
I'm from Mullaly.
yeah, I'm from Mullaly. That like, famous
Wearing
video.
your slippers and away we go.
Oh, my God.
That was the good stuff. But Jakey Stringer, to be honest, I hate how much I like him on Collingwood.
Yeah,
'Cause
it
I
probably
already hate
fits.
him.
Really?
I already
No, I
hate
don't mind him as
I think
well.
it's a good fit.
Yeah, they need a forward. They
Do
also
they need a forward?
How much are we betting on Jake Stringer in the Anzac Day medal for the Anzac Day medal against them? Just a revenge game.
Are we?
I don't know. I'm just trying to hype something up out of it. But I do think he's okay. He's still got what? A goal, over
I
a
don't
goal a
think
game.
Collingwood need him, though. Do they?
They need a forward. But yeah, you're probably someone better. But I think he's a decent fit.
I don't even think they need a forward, to be honest.
Oh, surely not.
Key forward, if anything.
Interesting stuff.
Just play small ball.
Other ones, there's some interesting gear around the John Noble deal, popping off with Sam Edmonds and stuff.
We love
pointing
John
this out. We love John Noble. What is he, the weapon? It sounds stupid, though. It just like, this is the weird part of the trade period where we just get the first initial tyre kicks, right? And you sort of get these reported back to us, and it's just all posturing. Yeah, that's all it is, right? It's like, and the other one actually is Tom Barrass and West. We need 2 firsts for Tom Barrass. And everyone's like, sure. I mean, you can want what you want. We'll see what they pay.
Yeah.
That's all it sort of
I
comes
think
down
he's
to.
going,
right?
yeah.
Considering he's under contract for 1 million years and there's already nominated that he's going to Hawthorn. But the same thing with the John Noble deal, right? Like the Pies haven't apparently asked for pick number 12. People were talking about that. Everyone's like, you're insane. They're not going to give up 12 for John Noble. As much as we love the weapon. And apparently Gold Coast were like, we're not going to pay him $800,000. And he's like, what? Oh, I thought that's what. Well, that's what it was reported. Come on, it's like John Noble, settle down, mate. You're good. Are you $800,000?
Just get a game first, mate.
And then it then got sort of put into this one as well. Oh yeah, around 4 years for around $600,000 looks more likely. And you're like, that seems fair.
That seems about right.
For
Yeah.
John Noble.
Yep.
Like I do love. This is also the fun part of the trade period where it's like guys on the maybe not so much the fringes, but not in your top 8 players, maybe not in your top 12 players.
12, yeah.
It's like, here we go. We're going to talk about the John Noble deal. It's like, how much does he move your needle? And I think he's a very good user. I think he's a very good footy player.
I think he would play in most teams other than like
And
Collingwood.
$600,000 for years feels wildly fair for the weapon. I don't mind
A
it.
little bit less, but yeah.
A little bit less.
All right. I'll pay you less. There we go.
You're paying.
You guys are getting paid.
So the Barras deal, how do we feel about that as well? 2 firsts, what do we reckon?
Oh, that's a bit much.
They have all the power, though, don't they, West Coast? And I think Hawthorn might
Hawthorn might still
cave,
do it
yeah.
because they really need a key defender.
Well, the other thing is our pick is going higher every week, like our first round pick.
Yes.
It keeps pushing out and out and out.
Was
And
it
then
10?
you've got
Now it's like, what, 14?
and then the power.
That'll be one.
And then by the time the pick actually rolls
Go the other
around
way.
with the father sons and
Yes,
academy
it's
picks,
going to be in
it'll
the
further
20s
back,
probably.
so.
So
that doesn't
they
help,
probably would want that pick and then a future, which
I think that's not too bad because Barras is a jet and you really need him.
potentially if we get like a third back, I'd take it, to be honest.
Good stuff. All right. Jared Lyons retires. 194 games across what? Adelaide, the Suns, the Lions.
He had a hard done by career. He was a good player for a few years there. Supercoach gem for about 3 years.
Absolute jet
I
on
like-
the Supercoach
I think there was
field.
1 year at Brisbane before he went into it. He was like over 600,000 in Supercoach in price.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Injuries just obviously took their toll on him over the years.
And just
years and
getting
years.
Dunkley as well. Like
Yeah.
that was his role, right? Like
Speaking of Brisbane, Chris Fagan's contract. This is not official or anything, but I think it's basically in the works. Is that Brisbane are trying to head off any sort of contract talk about Chris Fagan and to basically extend his contract for one more year, which I think ends at end of next year to have it end at the end of 2026. Which, because they beat Carlton on the weekend, you've won a final. If you get obliterated once more, which we'll talk about later, because their record away from home in finals is, checks the notes, abysmal. If they get smashed again away from home in a final, do you suddenly just go, I don't know if that extension was the right idea, but here we are.
I think their theory is their team is, this is the window, like I think you said on the
100%.
show last week or earlier.
And they've got so many good young development dudes as well that they have obviously worked. Like all the Ashcroft dudes, like you look at Kyle Lohman this year as well, stuff like
Fletcher.
that. Exactly.
Yeah, I think their game, it's not even, I don't think it's even to do with Fagan. Sometimes it's literally just their inaccuracy in front of goal or Joe Danaher just does three things. You're going, Joe, he could be one of the best players in the comp, and then you just cook it. I don't think that's anything to do with Fagan. So I think that's what they're thinking. They're like, we have all the pieces, but it's just not clicking because they should have won a flag the last, 5 years or so? Surely.
You could say Melbourne could have cashed in more.
Melbourne.
Geelong could have cashed in more.
Oh, but Brisbane's team on
Saying
paper
that
is so
anyone
good.
deserve a flag.
No, I
is
didn't say
a bit
deserves.
rich.
I said
Can't
they
deserve
should.
a flag, Jim. What do you think?
No,
I
they definitely
deserve
don't.
it. 2025. Hashtag flaggers. 2025 is just 30th anniversary. It's going to be on for young and old next year. Sam Collins won the Suns best and fairest, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
That backs up
Sam
my
Collins.
point about Sam Flanders using the ball, but
Yep.
what of it? Ah,
So we
can't even
actually-
talk. What of it?
What was
Is
going
that the
on
moon?
there?
So we will also,
Whiskey?
is that the moon? We will actually talk about this when we talk about our Brownlow stuff, but Sam Flanders is one of the interesting head-to-head looks for some of those Brownlow picks.
Yes.
For some of the Brownlow betting markets. Fascinating setup because I think you look at some of the home games that the Suns played, Noah Anderson obviously played awesome, but Sam Collins was so instrumental, wins the best and fairest, and was really good all year too. Like, I do wonder where the likes of Rao, Flanders, Took Miller actually land.
Anderson.
Anderson in a Brownlow count.
Anderson
so-
at home, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so keep an eye on that. We shall. And then the final little bit, this was a tough one. Callum Mills, already out for the prelim. So this happened this came out after we did yesterday's show. Pinged a hammy at training.
Oh, that's literally the last thing you want as the Sydney
great.
Swan. All their fans would be like, we've got some fans in the comments.
It's-
They'll be filthy.
It's also happened to him before. I
Yes.
think for the 16.
Possibly.
Somewhere.
I'll have a look.
Up the Swanee says LOL's Cow Productions. I'll pay that.
They've been on a few lives, so
And
thanks for that.
it is like Callum Mills being out for the prelim. There is this amazing setup where Taylor Adams could come back
Oh, surely not.
and then get dropped again for another grand final.
Whoa.
2 years straight, being dropped for a grand
that
final.
would be brutal, wouldn't it?
How do you leave Collingwood? You've missed the granny. You go to Sydney. We're in the grand final. Taylor, you've been dropped, mate. Oh, what are we doing?
Maybe just play
Brutal.
better in the prelim and you won't get dropped.
All right.
No, that was a bit harsh.
And of course, if Alex was here, he'd be like, "You can't play Callum Mills in the grand final. We want to see what happens to Sam Reid." And away we go. So
He did a big tweet about that,
I'm
actually.
sure
I just saw that.
I would not be surprised if he's already tweeted
He's
about
loving the rage.
it. Sam Reid, it cost us the 2022 grand final. Like, they got killed by 200 million points.
why
Brooke
would-
Watson points out that Port have a key defender for sale.
Do they?
So Dan Houston.
Oh yeah.
not exactly
Apparently,
a
there's
defender.
three clubs that are
So
going for him.
there are a raft of clubs.
Is it 3 or 4?
in the Dan Houston Stokes.
I was hoping to see North
to
on
the
there,
point where
but-
it's been touted as a 5-club race for
5?
Dan Houston. And as a Blues fan, I'm sitting there going, yes, usage out of the back half is very important. But at the same time, the Blues,
You already have
presumably Doherty comes back healthy fully again next year. You have
Sard.
You've got Sard coming off of that.
Sard's the
booming
same
left
sort
leg.
of player, but
Mitch McGovern as well. But at the same time, like Houston's just really good.
yeah, he's better than all those players.
I
yeah.
think sometimes you just
Good
go,
shiny
just
thing. Come here.
get good dude in team, make work good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just sometimes it's that easy.
Simple
But
as
anyway, the Blues, St Kilda, Collingwood, and the Dogs have apparently met with Dan Houston
I heard
as well.
North offered pick
and
2.
North is in play to a lesser extent.
What?
Haven't you heard?
And Melbourne is
my
initially that's one of the first teams they talked about, obviously, but no longer linked. So
Oh, Lols Cow just talking about, I love Mills, but he won't play in the preliminary or the grand final.
you can't screw around with hammies.
No,
It's like, oh, it's a minor. It's like, there's nothing minor.
because imagine
It's
he
like
goes
you ping
down
it
so
again.
early in the granny,
Pack
and
her
then
up,
the
boys,
sub,
you're done.
their plan goes all out the window.
Right. The one little bit before we get into the teams which have just dropped is they announced the final membership tallies basically for this season.
Do I have to look at that?
Should we go started from the bottom now we're here? What do we
Sure.
think?
Sure.
Yeah.
My beloved Gold Coast Suns, 26,157. That is a very, very disappointing number. However, it is up 2,798 on the year prior. It's not
Really?
bad.
Okay.
That's what I call-
Alex has chimed in on the comments. Long why I won't risk it after Sam read in 2022.
Yeah, nailed
He
it.
didn't see what you said
Absolutely.
5 minutes ago.
Absolutely nailed it, didn't I?
Jim has nailed the Alex impression. It's like he's in the room with us.
That's weird. We're scared. But that's I'd call that the Jed Walter corollary, up over 2,500 members.
Is that why they've
The
got
Ned
some
Moyle
more?
corollary. Though.
Maybe.
To be honest, hey, Sons, just look, I will take on like your vice president of common sense.
Of memberships?
I'm happy to go full tropical gym. I said it in the video on the weekend.
But you can't go too
I
tropical.
was at People's first. You can't get tropical. But it was awesome. Like it's just like their stadium is just so nice and boutique and rad. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Let's go. Definitely going to go to a game next year. GWS at 36,629. North at 50,000, Stats Boy.
Yeah, we've been in there for ages. I want to look into the numbers a bit with these memberships
So-
because I don't see
Have we got
50,000 any of our
the pet
games.
memberships
Yes,
here
the
as
pet
well?
memberships are always in there.
So,
The 2-game memberships.
3-game memberships,
3-game
your home membership. There's different strata, of course. So St Kilda over 60,400, Freo 62, Western Bulldogs 62, Brisbane 63, which is up on 54. So Brisbane's membership as well, I think, is fascinating to look at because the sport, obviously, being up there on the weekend, people everywhere. But when they were in their absolute pomp in the early thousands, huge membership numbers, they hit a nadir in like the tens or whatever.
Yep.
And then
That's when they
they're
got really
right
bad.
back above 3,000, which is awesome. Not awesome. Melbourne down 5,200.
That surprises me they've got that many.
5,000 for the Demons. Down from 70,785.
Small club.
Well, they definitely
Minnow.
don't turn up. the
Absolute
Melbourne fans.
minnow. Port Adelaide 66,015, which I believe is a record. Sydney's is a record at 73,757.
Wow.
Which is up 8,000, which is
Jeez.
the fourth most, 8,425. Adelaide a record 75,477.
How?
That'll go
which is
back down next
amazing.
Yeah, surely.
That's up 6,941 as well.
I think that's the Thrillthorpe effect.
That is actually
Or
highly
Rankin,
filled.
maybe.
Essendon 83,000. That's down from last year. Hawthorn 83,000. Again, a new record there, Leo.
Lovely.
Very nice.
Love to see it.
Then you have Geelong at 90,000, a new record. That's up from 82.
Jeez, that's a big jump.
8,643 up on
Where
the
are they
prior
getting all
year.
these members?
Richmond down 3,000, 98, 489, down from 101. West Coast 103. That's just absurd. Amazingly, West Coast's difference is like 4 people.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's like 103,498 up from 103,275.
It's wild. You still have to have a waiting list to
Yeah.
go to West Coast games, which
I love
no
that.
other team has. That's wild.
Blues set a record of 106,345 up from 95. That's making a prelim last year and having all the belief in the world. We'll see what that number is next year. And then the
80,000.
Pies, a new record for them, an insane 110,628. So Carlton actually had the biggest move. They went up 11,000.
That was the belief.
Love the belief. The belief was then punctured by a horrible second half. But there we go. So
That's massive.
Awesome numbers. Melbourne, the big losers. Richmond, a bit of the losers. Essendon losers. North dipped a little bit. The Clarko Bowl effect did not kick in, Stats Boy. What happened?
Well, that they didn't
You
show
mean
that on the
North
field
Ball?
either.
instead. The Hawks. It'd be fascinating to see what the Hawks number is next year as well. That'll skyrocket.
Well, the Hawks' social media numbers, I tell you what.
And just wait for Tassie to get included on this as well.
Well, as we've just been, someone in the comments did the Swans win, said Vic Bias again, not counting Tasmania at 200,000. I thought you read that.
I didn't even see that.
And then Joel Duncan, kind of Tasmania above the big Vic clubs, the uproar.
Do I count 4 times because I've got 4 different memberships now?
Have you got the Tassie one?
I got the Tassie one. I'm going Gold Coast.
200,000 Tassie does not count.
Didn't I say I have to buy Greater Western Sydney as well on the weekend after? So they beat Brisbane. I think I said something like that.
It should only count if you actually go to a game.
I wasn't even drinking at the Gabba, and I'm still just like rabbiting on. Anyway, good stuff. Can't have Tasmania above the big Vic clubs. The uproar, says Joel Duncan. I like that.
I did just read that one, but that's all right.
I hate that Lol's Cow is saying 100% Alex. Long way I won't risk it after Sam Reid in 2022. Or should I call you the best panelist on this show? Blow it out your nose, Lol's Cow.
Yeah, wow. We're right here. We're right here.
Best panelist. Not even the best panel on his own racing show.
Anyway. Check it out, though.
That's good stuff. Now, the biggest thing is, what happens this weekend, gentlemen?
I'm not doing much.
More finals footy.
I'm going to play golf, I reckon, yeah. More finals, yes.
Let's go. Come on, finals. Let's
Up
go.
and about.
Let's do some game previews. Semi-final. Is it number 2? Did we figure out which number this one's up?
Honestly, can we just call it semi-final one?
The first one Friday night, the Adelaide Oval. This is going to be awesome. Port Adelaide, $2.30. Underdogs at home, gentlemen.
That is crazy.
All these odds are brought to you by our friends at TopSport, the home of finals footy.
Absolutely.
Hawthorn, favourites at $1.62. Stats boy, have those numbers changed since the teams were announced?
That's a very good question. That is about to load up on my laptop. $2.30, $1.62. So no, it has not changed. All
right, the line is 8.5 points. Hawthorn's favour, which is crazy. Or is it crazy like a fox? 166.5 is the over-under too. How do we feel about this one? Should we start there, Stats Boy, with some of your stats really quickly?
We can, yeah. So we got Port have won the last 4 home meetings with Hawthorn, but have lost their last 4 finals, as we've touched on all week. Sorry, Power Prawn Star in the comments. He was like, take it easy on Port. I don't know if we can with some of the other things that have been going on. You said the over-under. 5 of Port's last 7 home games have gone over the total points. But the last meeting went under against the Hawks. But that was the Hawks sort of went in their shell a bit. And I think that could have gone over if the Hawks sort of put the foot on the gas. Do you like the game where you obviously lost by 1 point? Was their last meeting?
What game was that one?
What game was that one? Yeah, the Hawks are up by 41 points in the last meeting. So I am still leaning towards the over, just the way the Hawks play, very open game style. And I think Port need to bounce back on their offense.
So they were forced to make changes as well. Ryan Burton was out for the Power. We sort of knew that was coming as well.
Yep.
Jed McEntee is out as well. In comes Todd Marshall. Charlie Dixon keeps his spot.
Oh,
they're going tall.
And Josh Sin. So they're going big against the
Josh
Hawks.
Sin's tall as well. Yeah.
I mean, that worked.
He's a backman, though.
Worked last week for the Dogs. Pause.
That's a very good point, actually.
In for the Hawks again. Another forced change for the Hawks. Sam Frost out for the rest of the season.
Yep. Sad.
In comes Jai Sarong.
We knew that was coming.
Yeah, we did know that one. So we actually mentioned this, I think, earlier.
Hawthorn are so open with their ins and outs.
Yeah, I do like it. We haven't done it all year. We've done it for finals, which I think's been good. Just sort of like no speculate. Even with the day stuff, we announced day a week before. And even yesterday, they're going, he did train, but he didn't do contact, but he trained. So he could play, but he didn't do contact. So
so he's not playing.
We already said he's not playing.
It's good because it sets expectation.
Yes,
right?
it's good.
No one's sort of frothing and losing their minds. Like, so Sam Day and Cam McKenzie were already sort of ruled out.
Yep.
We knew that Sam Frost
Everyone's
was
on the same page.
Yeah, because everyone would be like to Will Day, you're going to play, and just don't have to deal with that for a week. You know?
So would he be at the pub hanging out with his mates the night before the game?
No, you're not allowed to do that, Jim.
Okay, just checking. I'm never allowed to leave the house then.
This is your house.
I was gonna say, where's Jim? The pub. Is he allowed there? He's a grown man. Let him do what he wants.
Not at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, Jim, at the midday.
That's enough.
That was too easy.
All right, so before the season finished, this was the 8th ranked offense in the Port versus the 6th for the Hawks.
Yep.
And the defense was 3rd ranked for the Power, and the Hawks are 6th. So we talked about this time and time again with the Hawks being in that premiership window out of nowhere with 6th best for both offense and defense. But I think the best part about the Hawks stuff is it's even better than that. This is the craziest part. So since round 5, when it was all falling apart, they're 15-4.
It's unbelievable.
15-4 the Hawks are since round 5. That is the best in the competition, gentlemen. That's
Absolutely.
pretty good. Hockball works. But on top of that, so 9 of those wins were by at least 37 points, which is insane. And the best part, though, is 2 of those losses, 2 points, and the other loss by 1 point to whom?
Obviously.
Port Adelaide.
Yeah, with a 41-point lead, that was brutal.
Shut up, Stats.
I'm just saying the stats.
I know.
Absolutely remarkable. But on top of that, like this is not just like that sounds neat and amazing because it is. But on top of that, they're ranked first for points and points against.
Yep.
In that time. That's a very big stretch of time. What are we doing? On top of that, they're the best team in the AFL at generating points from clearance. That's good. Third best from turnover. That's also good. Third best from defensive half. That's not bad. And fourth best from kick-ins. That's
Top 4 in
every
all big stats.
part of the bloody ground. What are we doing here, mate? That's insane.
That is awesome.
So, StatsBoy being such an analyst, yeah. He's a great analyst.
Yeah, cop that. Hawks fans? No.
But that is,
I'll take that on board.
no one else is top 6 in all of those categories at once.
No.
I'm just saying, Leo, what's that door over there? Oh, it's the premiership door!
No, I
They're
can't-
winning the entire bloody
Put on
thing!
the lid.
I think the lid needs to be like half. Maybe just half.
jar.
A jar, that's the word, yeah.
That's no jar, that's a door. StatsBoy, give us some more stats, would you?
Yeah, we got plenty on this one. The Hawks, obviously that form in that run, they've covered the line in the last 8 times they've been favourites. So obviously favourites again in this one, which a lot of Hawks fans are going, oh, should we be favourites? But they've covered the line every time. So what's that line? 8.5. That's the one I'm leaning towards with TopSport. I'm really happy with that one. What else have I got? The over/under. We can get into some player ones if we want as well.
Well, there is a great point from Did This One's Win where two Hawks Port Adelaide finals have been played previously. Both have been 3-point Hawk wins. We actually watched the end of one of those just before.
We did. That was
to
wild.
get ourselves
Was
psyched
that the
up.
2014
2014.
Yeah,
Brian Lake should have been called for holding the
He
ball
should
in the
have.
siren.
I was
Loved it.
crapping myself. I was like, oh my God, that's
Well,
on
you
the
were
ball.
like 2, so
Yeah.
you probably
I wasn't
were.
even born.
2014.
We're scared.
got a
Good
beard.
stuff. So, with this in mind, so you talk about this, how Port have won last 4 at home against the Hawks. But they also just don't win finals. So this is like the unstoppable force, the very stoppable force meets the very movable object at this point, right? Like they can't win finals, but we're beating you at home. What happens? Who knows? This is awesome. So let's dig into a couple of player stats and vibes, and then we'll look at a best look, and then we'll have a big question, Stats Man.
Sure. Or do you want to go to the big question first before we do some player ones, or just get into it?
Oh, he's changing it up.
I think I'd rather do the big question before the tip. So I think
that sounds good.
We get into the player vibes, and we'll sort of talk that out.
I'll start with Willie Rioli. We talked him up last week, didn't do too much.
Willie
Rioli, he loves a snag against the Hawks. 3 goals, 4 goals, and 3 goals in his last 3 matches against them. So I'm really happy with that one. TopSport maybe just at least for 2 goals. I think that's a really good bet. I think most sites have it $2. So when it comes onto TopSport, get around that. Boak surprisingly also loves playing against the Hawks. I know that he's getting a little bit older, but 26 touches, 39, 34, and 26 his last 4 games against the Hawks. A few of those were when he was in his prime, but those last 2 were not that long ago. 26 and 39 disposals. Also had 20 last week against Geelong. So he's still got it, the old guy. Then looking on the younger guys for the Hawks, Massimo, we absolutely love him on this show. He's had 25 plus disposals in his last 4 matches. Had 28 against Port last time. That was sort of when he was building into the season. And from that point on, he's been awesome.
He will probably play on Boak too, on the wing.
Ooh, on the wing, you reckon? Yeah, he probably will, right? That'll be a really good matchup. All right, I'm just happy for that. One of them to get 25, one of them to get 20, and then we're all happy with that one. We got a big call. Hawks, from Did the Swans win? Hawks win by 10 goals plus. Ken resigns during the post-game presser. Look, that is...
We'll put that in the big call section later.
It's pretty good. Can I use that? Yeah.
Don't mind it.
That's really good. And then the last one I want to talk about, we sort of still laugh a little bit about, the Wizards are going to kick this sideways or things like that. He has really improved his goal kicking. So you got the first 9 rounds. Everyone's sort of talking about it, but I wanted to put this in our show. 6 goals, 18.
How many out in the full as well?
Yeah. The fact that he's
18.
getting...
How many in the Yarra?
So the fact that he's getting... He had about 30 shots in the first 9 rounds. That's when everyone was like, all right, he's going to be good. He just needs to get accurate. Sam Mitchell sat him down. Then the last 8 games, he's kicked 16-8, which is just great kicking.
So the raps on him coming into the season was that he was like wildly accurate as well, I thought, wasn't he?
I can't remember, but...
I don't think so. I think it was more around just like he was...
Excitement machine.
Yeah, just exciting.
Yeah.
Small. Anyway.
Small,
And
he's a midget.
So
Small.
the fact that he's kicking straight now is just awesome, and he sort of got over those mental barriers because he had a lot of games 0-3, 0-2, 0-1, and now he's just kicking straight. 4 goals in his first ever final, so get around the whiz.
I like that. All right, so how does that lead itself into our best bet vibe tip with TopSport Stats Boy? What do you think the AFL Today show same game multi is going to be.
Oh, okay, yeah. If we can get that up on screen, please, Gerald. A little bit of a TopSport thing there. Looks very nice. So we got Jason Horne-Francis, 20+ disposals.
Like it.
He was really good last week and one of the only Port players that can hold their head high. Massimo, as I mentioned, he's going to get 25, but just being a little bit cautious with the 20 on Boak. Then we've got Willie Rioli, 2+ goals. He dominated last time. And then we'll finish with the two annoying little rats.
The small Hawks.
The small Hawks. Jack Ginnivan, anytime goal. Nick Watson, anytime goal. I don't know why you're saying
Ginnivan goal, I don't know. Because he only got one last week in the last quarter. And he's been more up the ground. He's been less selfish.
Yep. Depends how many beers he has on Hindley
Street. The other legs I really like. If we're doing a Rate My Multi, I'm giving that 8 out of 10.
Oh, there we go.
8 out of 10.
He's going to be Rate My Multi.
I forgot about that.
If he's at the Strathmore the night before, tonight,
looking for 5.
He's going to kick it back.
The Strathmore is a great pub.
They come in pints.
Talking about the Wiz, we got a comment from Mason. Did North make a mistake not getting Watson?
No, that's silly.
Poor.
Come on, stats guy. Don't get sucked in. Dersma's going to be a great player.
I had
Watson's going to be a great player.
But I said Watson next season will be All Australian and Dersma won't.
So no, have a cry about it.
So the AFL Today
question. I like that question.
The AFL Today show same game multi of Hornet 20+, Massimo 20+, Willie 2+, Ginnivan, Watson anytimes. I love that.
Yep.
I'm very much.
It's sort of playing it safe, but you still get really good odds with TopSport. So
you just got to, as you said, Leo. I think the Ginnivan goal probably is the one that will give you pause
because Watson plays closer to goal than Ginnivan. So
mine every time the Port Adelaide power play, you know me, stats boy. I love my 25, 25, 20. Which is the Butters 25, Rosé 25, Wines 20+. And Wines is the only one actually, I think, top 20.
Yeah, the other
3 last week.
Butters got injured, obviously.
Butters subbed off with 8 at halftime.
Rosé's the one that's the worry because he's been a bit up and down. But
he's had a roller coaster season. He's like been on, maybe it's not so much the Gravitron. What's the one that goes around?
Vomitron?
Yeah, we'll go.
I don't know. That's what I remember.
Actually, being up, driving past, what was it, like the Warner Brothers movie world and stuff on the weekend. And the squid just like, what's that? I'm
like, nothing.
I can't afford to get in there.
We're going to People's First Stadium.
Your dad's going to go stand out the front and shoot a video. But the 25, 25, 20 for Butters, Rosé, Wines, I'll still probably be on that just because I think the way that the Hawks play, the sort of back and forth nature that sometimes this can happen, especially at Adelaide Oval as well, right? I think they really vibe on that Adelaide Oval crowd. It didn't work last week, but Butters, before his injury, was on his way. 25 might be a bit much to ask for a dude with busted ribs, but they're not broken. The x-rays and stuff are all clear, so Butters should be all good to go. He's been named, obviously.
Yep.
And the other one is always going to be, for me, is the Horne-Francis 20+ and a goal.
I really like that. At home as well. Yeah,
at home, he just always sort of slings off that half-forward sort of spot as they sort of rotate the 3 midfielders through. Sometimes Hornet will just go forward.
They need to start them all in there.
And he needs to like give them a spark every so often. Yep. So he's usually that sort of anytime goal kicker. It feels pretty safe. So they're my best ones. Right.
Very good.
But answer the big question, gentlemen. Will Port fire up for Ken one more time?
Should be firing up for a lot of other things as well. Their fans, their own sort of safety just when they're leaving the ground.
Yeah. Look, I think they will. I reckon I think Zach Butters is going to lead a charge here. You know that scene in Avengers Endgame where it's just like, is it Captain America just sort of stands up? That's going to be Zach Butters.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to be like, on your left. And
they all
wait, isn't that the? I don't know. To be honest, I'm not a big Avengers fan.
I like the effort. I
gave it a crack. But that's going to be Zach Butters. He's going to lead the charge.
Well, I think Hawks are going to be way too strong. Ken might have an answer for the tsunami of the Hawks.
I think ironically, Zach Butters, because he looks like Ramsay Bolton, he's going to be much more like Jon Snow facing the charge of Ramsay Bolton's cavalry by himself with the sword. Maybe. In Game of Thrones, just going, oh, God.
If Butters has a sword, I will back Port, yeah.
Maybe. Would they still win if he was given one sword?
100%.
I would say so.
Yeah. But you know who couldn't get taken down by a sword? Big Lloyd Meek. He would break the sword.
He's a lord now. Did you see
that?
Yeah,
they made him a lord.
They made him a lord. He's got a piece. Scotland.
I saw that.
How is this not in the news? What are you doing?
I forgot about
that. But really, I think the big question that's like, so that's the initial Port question.
Yes.
Like, will they fire off for Ken? Will they fire off for that crowd? We've seen it happen before. So Port, backs against the wall, pressure's on Ken, they step up, all the fans get behind them. They can never dare us apart! And they turn around and save his job for the rest of the season, end up second on the ladder. They all know that if he loses this game, he's gone. So it's kind of like why it's sitting there. The other one for the Hawks is obviously Hockball. Now that the pressure is on, it's
been on for half a year though.
But it hasn't. Like
no, it has.
It hasn't. There's been zero pressure on the Hawks this year. This is all found money, and I think this year, like making the finals for the Hawks was just like, this is awesome.
They weren't favourites last week as well.
Exactly.
That's true.
They've exceeded expectations now. So this is, again, just all house money from here. But now it's like actual, like, you guys can win the flag. Suddenly you hear that. You're like, wait, we're good. We're going to win the flag. And you get your heads kicked in Port Adelaide. It's the rite of passage of anyone who goes to Adelaide.
I agree with you and understand what you're saying, but at the same time, every game has been an elimination final for us.
For like the last 10 games,
The point about
when you win that Carlton game in round 22, like it's like it's on for young and old from then, and like every game you had to keep on winning.
And when you're thinking like, oh, the hearing we're going to win the flag, I reckon Gidevan and McDonald were thinking that 6 weeks ago. Like they're probably all
Gidevan's like, that's why I came here.
Yeah, they're probably all ahead of themselves like that. So we'll see what happens. I get what you're saying though.
But so that's one side of it. I think the other side of it is because they've exceeded expectations, they actually kind of have no pressure on them.
Yeah.
Like they can just play free. They just go, we don't we weren't expected to do anything this year.
Like as a fan base, that you're like, all right, if we lose this, you're still happy.
I really wanted to beat the Dogs.
Yeah.
Because it was just funny to win the final before Essendon. And now,
that's a good point.
Now I'm just chilling. I obviously want to win, but the year we've had has been incredible. So.
Yeah.
Well, with all that said, let's do some tips.
Here we go.
On the Hawks.
Jeez.
Hawks by 4.
Hawks
by 4.
You could go 3 and then they got 3 finals in a row.
That's what I went one more above the 3. So I just feel like the way that they're playing and like all the stats back it up, like if they can just basically play this game on any way, shape or form of their terms, they win. And I think this basically almost all started in that comeback against Port, right?
Yeah.
Like in that game at Adelaide Oval. And it's like just from there, it's just like the launch pad. So I don't think they're afraid of Adelaide Oval. We saw them do that against Collingwood earlier this year at Gather Round as well. They're not afraid of Adelaide Oval. I think their forward line will still give me question marks if somebody's just not fighting. Like if there's no Dylan Moore, if there's no Chol, are you relying on Watson?
Well, they didn't have Chol last week pretty much.
Exactly. Is Kel Shadir going to step up in like a massive spot?
Yeah.
I just think they have enough chutzpah to get over the line.
What a word.
That's a great
Hawks by
word.
4. Stats, boy?
Yeah, I'm going Hawks by 12. Get on the Hawkball train. We got Emery's in the comments. Bruce goal in his milestone. We haven't even mentioned that. Bruce 300th. So we're saying we'll Port fire up for Ken. The Hawks will fire up for Bruce. He's a club legend.
But yes.
He'll be sub, of course. But he'll kick a couple of goals as a sub. He's the best sub in the business.
Match winner.
So I think, those 2 goals that Hawks will win by are from Bruce Brood. He's going to kick a match winner. That's what I'm saying.
You might have to dig into some TopSport markets here, Stats Boy, and get Luke Bruce 2+ goals 4th quarter made up specifically.
Genuinely,
that would be paying a lot.
Nice one, Leo. What's your pick?
I'm going Port by 27.
Boo, what a hater! He goes for the Hawks. Everyone in the comments.
I started this week thinking we were going to win.
That's outrageous.
I've changed my tune, and I just think. So what's? I don't know the exact stat off the top of my head, but after a team has got smacked 1 week of finals, they normally bounce back. Is it 11 out of 12?
That's true.
When they've gotten, I think it's when it's over 60 points
over 60
as well.
Yes.
Like when we've actually gotten their heads really kicked in.
It's been 11 in a row, I think.
11 in a row.
But that's a very lucky stat, surely.
I'm going to contradict myself. I think we have a better team than Port Adelaide. I think they have a lot of bland players on their team.
Like Charlie Dixon.
But it's just going to be one of those ones where Zach Butters and Horn Francis and Rosie from the first bounce are just like, we've got you, Ken.
And Georgiades kicks 4.
And Georgiades kicks 4.
Okay.
Because we've got our hands full with.
Because suddenly they've got Todd Marshall, they've got Charlie Dixon, they've got Georgiades.
Sounds like you're talking to somebody.
Willie Rioli's already kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, and away you go.
The thing with
I'm laying out like Leo's like nightmare.
No, there is a
situation.
way.
Well, the thing with the forward line is, I noticed with the Dogs last week, the small forwards have got to get our interceptors away from the big forwards. The Dogs forwards couldn't do that.
Yep.
That's why I'm surprised McEntee's dropped, because he did that with Stewart earlier in the year. Good. I think Rioli can do it. Francis Evans needs to do it for Port. So we'll just see what happens in that regard. But if it's a one-on-one in our defence, we're not going to win too many of them. We need it to be a long kick in where we've got space to come in and spoil or mark. So that's going to be a big factor.
But 27, it's not even a small
Well, I'm going to get into it with my big call, but I think it'll be the mids that really set it up for Port.
Okay.
I think Zach Butters is going to have an absolutely mammoth game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We talked about this with Simeon, though, like defensively, though, that power midfield is going to be the crucial aspect.
Yeah,
Like, can they play two ways? Let's find out.
There we go.
All right, so 2 for Hawks, 1 for Port. Ironically, the Hawks fan is going for Port. Saturday night. We're just going the gym jukebox. This is good. GWS hosting Brisbane at NG. This is fun. Has the line or anything changed here, Stats Boy? I don't think it has.
Don't think so, no.
$2.10. The Brisbane Lions are underdogs. Visiting the $1.74 GWS Giants. It's a big, big sound. They are 4.5-point favourites. This is massive. I can't wait for this game. I did tip on Sunday's show in my video from Brisbane that they will get their heads kicked in by GWS because GWS look like so much better of a team.
And you're a salty Carlton fan?
And I was just a sad, angry Blues fan. But at the same time, like, the entire situation set up here is it's the Lions away from home.
Yep.
And before we'll do the teams because
we haven't even
I've got a couple of other vibes on that entire setup.
There's a big in, one big in.
So
yeah, sort of.
Mason Barker points out Jack Payne swings this game for
me.
He's
in.
He's in.
He had a knee brace on during the week.
Doesn't mean he's out, does it?
Oh, was that a joke or something? That looked pretty bad. He couldn't even move.
So Mason points out Jack Payne swings this game for me. Jack Payne on Hogan may be one of the best matchups.
Kilo for kilo. I don't mind that.
Was that something though that our good friend of the show, Lockie McCurdy, was talking about? How they want to sort of little like ring a rosy, get Hogan onto Payne and Andrews onto Hogan, and it'd be interesting to see how that plays out during the game.
Yeah.
Well, I think because he's been named,
that's crazy.
I do I think it. I'll get to my tip in a second. I think this is going to be tighter than I probably first imagined.
I agree, yeah.
I still do back GWS. Hashtag spoiler alert. But Scrubbo saying GWS by 30+, and Mason is going on to point, allows Harris Andrews to play his role.
Yes,
That's exactly
I like that.
right.
I like that.
So, in for the Giants comes Toby Bedford.
That's a big
expected.
Yep.
Out goes Toby McMullen.
The better, the
Does
worse
Bedford go to Lockie Neal, do we think?
Or Zorko?
Zorko, perhaps.
I think, Zorko.
Zorko was so damaging last week. It was
Why didn't you play Chincotta, Jim?
Look.
He's not the coach.
If I was the coach, Leo, you know who I would have played? It would have been me. But anyway,
too bad
I'm going to go tag him and get towed. But either way. No, I would have played Chincotta. I still, to this day, I'm like, Doc and Chera look so cooked and underdone. Zach Williams as well.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been out, all three of them. So if they played Chincotta, run him off halfback, just to negate that punch from Zorko, I think it makes a big difference. And you saw it in the second half, right? Like,
who do we think? Oh, sorry, keep going.
That's right. And I think that's where you probably use like someone like Bedford, just go, just stop him. Because like Neil Dunkley, if you're getting clearance tagging is just that much tougher. Whereas like if you're trying to like play a negating role against someone on the halfback, like you just stymie influence in such a greater way, I think.
Yep.
And that sort of shutting down that one avenue makes a bigger difference than just going, Zorko just isn't like booting it off.
And no one's on him,
and just letting him run rampant. So Bedford is a massive in, I think.
Yeah, I've been putting Bedford on. Yeah, I really like that on Zorko. Neil, if he gets tagged, he could still get 30. He might not be, or 25, for example. He might not be as damaging. Whereas Zorko running free, it just sets up so many of their goals. So
absolutely.
Be interesting though, because he could go to Neil. But yeah, our call would definitely be on Zorko.
So the last 2 times these teams have met, Stats Boy, what has happened?
Well, the Giants won by 18. Was it 64-82 at the Gabba? So they did really well there. And then the time before that, I had to double check, but it was in Canberra. 54 points the Giants won by. So they'll be really confident in this one, beating them both times this year. The Lions,
and in that game, they actually were kicking their absolute heads in.
Yeah, should have been a lot more.
They just went, we're fine.
Pulled the foot off the gas a little bit. The Lions, though, they've won 4 of the last 5 away games against the Giants, which was a bit of a surprise, but only 2 of those were at NG. They've very rarely played NG. They've played a lot of their games at Manuka.
Well, that's what Rahul Kochi is just trying to do.
There we go. Rahul
Giants destroy Brisbane because 9 Brisbane players haven't played in NG because they always play at Manuka.
They always have played at Manuka. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.
It's weird. What's up with Canberra? We need to fix that.
I feel like, I don't know if that's to do with, the crowd, for example. Maybe it's to do with the crowds. They were like, we'll just send it to Canberra because they haven't even sold out this game, which is a bit of a worry.
Is this the one with the Tom Green fan club? Or is that
No, that's in Manuka because he's from Canberra. So Jim wants to start a Tom Green fan club.
I am part of the Tom Green fan club. I want to just go to NG and just be like, all right, get around him, boys. We're going full orange. I'm the leader of this. Full
Shirts
orange.
off.
I'm absolutely like orange. Like what more
You do
can I
look
do?
like a very
I'm
good Giant supporter.
Basically
That's
a Giant
racist.
supporter at this point.
No.
It is a big, big sound. But I had a couple of vibes on, as I mentioned earlier, right? So Brisbane Lions.
Yep. Away from home.
Since the start of May, they've only lost 3 games.
That is
One
wild.
of them to Hawthorn. Let's go.
Yeah. You always beat them.
The weirdest part is they are the Chris Fagan Lions. They're 1-3 away in finals. Right, so they've got this incredible run of like very, very good football.
Top
that they've
4
played this
always,
year.
yeah.
They're really bloody good, and then you've still got their like the sword of Damocles just hangs over their head still of like, where you playing Brisbane? They're like away. It's like you're stuffed, right? It's just like
Was that one against Melbourne at the G?
probably.
Yeah, I
2
reckon
years
it
ago.
was.
It was.
The Lockie Neal went God mode.
Yep.
So that's like a lot to overcome, but. Stats boy, you got some more stats.
Yeah.
Hit him with it,
Do we want to
Stats
hit him with it? Do we want to look at the over/under as well? So 167.5. 5 of the last 7 meetings have gone over the total points, and we always talk about Brisbane's offense, but Brisbane's last 7 matches have gone under, which really, really surprised me. I had to check that a few times.
Is that because they just don't kick straight though? Or?
They don't kick
It
straight.
does feel like
Yeah.
Right, so because their offense was 5th this year, 92.5
Yep.
points a game. Giants was 7th at 88.4. Defensive of the Giants were 9th at 81 points a game. The Lions were 2nd. So
Their defense is why it's going under more
so
than
the
their
defense is that good,
Yeah.
and they're spraying it worse than my 5-year-old at the Dunny Bowl. Like, here we go. So that's where I think those unders are coming from.
Yep.
More than anything.
I'm
like,
still, I know I don't usually go against the stats on these ones, but I'm still leaning towards the over because 5 of the last 7 meetings have gone over. Because surely if Brisbane just kick a tiny bit straighter, the Giants are such a good offense. So
I'm
I'd be backing them.
leaning to the under.
Okay.
Only because for 3 quarters last week, I thought GWS's defense was incredible. And as we just pointed out, Lions are the 2nd best defense in the comp. So
True.
I'm thinking it's going to be like 75-71 type thing.
Yeah, and that
But we'll
goes
see.
under.
They do have both teams have threatening offenses. So
And decent defenses. So
that's the best part about it. Like, on one forward line for Brisbane, you got Charlie Cameron, Hipwood. It was an absolute spud last week. But
Yep.
Zach Bailey always pops up for a goal at
Cam
the Gabba.
Rayner.
We'll see what happens there. Cam Rayner was massive for the Lions last week. Just sort of got them off to the fly. Was up and about. Joe Danaher does his thing. Jared Berry. And then I think for me, though, it's like the likes of Kai Lohman. Like, do they pop up away from home as well? Like, as I said, for Zach Bailey, like, can you get a Zach Bailey goal, Zach Bailey, when you're not in the Zach Bailey spot of the corner pocket of the Gabba?
Yep,
Just do it.
That's a very good point.
Just do it.
Raheel asks as well, who do you think Harris Andrews will play on? That's a
He's
tough
gonna
one.
go to Hogan.
Probably
You go to Hogan,
to
but-
start with and maybe rotate on Cadman and things
Cadman
like that.
and Rad. So, yeah, and that's where the Giants' forward line is. You've got named at the moment Darcy Jones, Jesse Hogan, Toby Green, Brent Daniels, Cadman, and Isaac Cumming. So
Coming half forward, I like it.
it's an awesome sort of mix.
Yep.
And they didn't bring back Riccardi or anything like this for...
He's a little bit stiff, but that worked really well last week. Even though they lost, everything just clicked.
we got big
Yeah.
Lockie Keefe.
And Lockie Keefe as well.
Exactly.
What the hell was that about?
What the hell?
Where did he come from?
Is that the moon?
Is that
Let's
All right.
do.
There we go. Stats boy, give us some more player stats before we get
Player
to...
stats? Yeah, let's get into it. Is it a Toby Green revenge game, lads? Is that maybe that's a different sort of big question? Jim's laughing at a comment. If Charlie goals to the 20 Brisbane fans sing the song, says Brooke Watson.
Take me home.
They actually did that at the grand final of that last year. Even when they
I
didn't
like
play
it.
it, they were still singing it. Yeah. Do we think it's a Toby Green revenge game? He's got 3+ goals in his last 3 finals at NG Stadium, so home finals. Averages 19 disposals and 2 goals against the Lions. I really think he's going to bounce back. He very rarely has 2 really bad games.
I
in a
want
row.
you to explain your concept of revenge.
Yeah,
From last week?
From last week. Revenge.
How's he revenge?
That's a very good point.
Because he played a crap game last year.
From
Like last week.
Last week.
From last week, just revenge against himself. He's looking in the mirror. He's like, I need revenge on this guy.
He's going to get that mirror.
Sorry, there's no revenge there at all.
You staring in the mirror, who's my most hated man? Me! Gotta fire myself up somehow!
Revenge against the media. I don't know. His other
No
mate.
one was backing him. Like no one. Well,
Except Alex.
to be honest, Toby Green wasn't the reason the Giants lost that game, but he didn't.
He didn't help.
So
No. Yeah, let's
I
just.
think he
pretend
will
that's it.
bounce back.
I think
Perhaps
he
he,
will bounce
could
back.
help avenge the loss.
Avenge,
From
there
last
we
week.
go.
It's a big matchup, him on Starcevic, because Starcevic is a very good lockdown defender.
I agree,
But
yeah.
Toby
Starcevic
Green is a
so
superstar.
athletic as well. There's like 2 or 3 different moments during last week where, like, I've actually seen Starcevic play in person before, and like, but seeing him in the Gabba, I don't know, it's something about those lights. And it's like how the footy goes further under lights in night games. I still swear to God, that's how it works.
Maybe
like,
the
if you
crowd's
watch a
being
game, like
hypnotised.
the game, like that Sydney GWS game during the day, Like they're kicking, it's like, wasn't that far? You go to the night games, like, that went 60 metres. That was sick. it's that night air.
Glasses.
It's that night air. What are you talking about?
Shouldn't that stop anyway, no.
No, I think it should be, it's colder. It's going further.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I thought it would be hotter further.
Just reminder.
Scientist.
Not a scientist.
yeah, we're definitely not scientists.
Not yet. I'm still working on it.
Oh my God.
The Starcevic took like a sick mark on the boundary line, and there was 2 other moments where he's just like scooping stuff up out of nowhere. Like his speed around the ball and his speed to the ball were the big things that stood out to me. If he's on Toby Green, I love that matchup for the Lions. So,
Interesting.
But Toby just has we talked about this with Heaney last week. Like Toby also still has the ability to just, what's this?
Yeah.
Scruff of the neck.
He's done that a lot in
Come
finals.
here, you.
Yeah.
And he could easily do that, especially at NG. Give us some more stats, man.
Before that, the comments don't rate Toby Green in this matchup. So we got Raheel. He reckons Toby Green is going to get locked down by Starcevic, as you guys mentioned, and he punches him like Rankin. he could well do that because he's an angry man. And then Mason Barker, Starcevic kept Toby to 4 touches last time they played. So he's getting some stats for us in the comments. That's very nice.
Checks
Might
out.
get him on the show.
Yeah, we should. Tom Green, he's also had 30 plus disposals in 9 of his last 10 games at NG. That
full name, my beloved Tom Green.
Jim's beloved Tom Green.
Jaymz Clements Green.
Memorial.
Memorial footy player. There we go.
9 of his last games. So that's really good. Get on that with TopSport. I think 30 plus is a lock. Kyle Lohmann, we had a look away from home and against the Giants. He's not too good, but he does have 7 goals across his last 3 games. I'm still pretty confident on Kyle Lohmann. I think he's stepped up his game across the last month. Then the other one, Dane Zorko, 25 plus in 5 of his last 6 games. But if he gets tagged, I'm staying clear of him for the bets. That's just my tip on that one.
Yeah, I'll pay that. Kyle Lohmann, his season's been fantastic. He's got 29 goals in 24 games. And I think the only sort of trip up I would have is he kicked 0-2 against GWS last time around. He kicked 2 against the Pies in the game that they lost.
Yep.
He kicked 3 against the Bombers when they smashed them, and then 2 last week against Carlton.
They're not finals teams, those other 2 are they?
The Pies game was a worry because it sort of just went MIA. That was at the G, though. The other 2 were at home. And you're like, okay, cool.
Away from home, yeah.
He kicked 5 against the Tigers earlier this season, but the only worry I have is the away from the Gabba.
Yeah, I think he can get 1, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, Zorko I'd be staying away from.
Nice one. All right, should we bring up the AFL Today show, same game multi for this game?
Check it out on TopSport.
I'm going to rate this multi. Here we go.
Here we go. Do you want me to go through it? Or do you want to go through it, Jim?
Tom, my beloved Green, 30 plus disposals. I like that a lot. I think he goes massive at NG. Will Ashcroft, 20 plus. He's got beautiful hair. He has a beautiful game. Not to be confused with Marcus Ashcroft, if you're stats boy.
Yeah, apparently.
Finn Callahan, 20 plus as well. That's a very sneaky one.
He's been getting 25 every week, so I really like that.
Jesse Hogan, 2 plus at home, should be a lock. Cam Rayner, anytime goal. And the other one is Aaron Cadman, anytime goal. So the Rayner one, do you trust him away from home as well?
Yeah, I think he's been so consistent.
Can you trust him?
Yeah, I haven't said that. No, I do trust Cam Rayner. Second half of the season, he's been elite. Very good for the Supercoach sides, as we love on this show. What are you rating this?
I'm rating that a 9 out of 10.
Better than the other one?
I think that's better.
Okay.
Chaos.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Chaos here. So in the comments, we've got the Brett Daniels legacy game from Raheel.
Yes, do you remember that in 2019? Kick the match winner?
I do.
Yeah,
that was epic.
Raheel is
posted about that on our socials earlier in the week.
I did. I remember watching. Brett Daniels was like, I think, so we were all over the Daniels stuff for last week's game, were we, Stats Boy?
Yeah, we were, and he did absolutely nothing. He cost a multi of ours. But
Revenge!
He broke our hearts, so he's going to, I think, did this one's win, pointed out, redemption, maybe, Stats Boy.
That's a better word,
redemption
correct.
Game.
Redemption,
so maybe a Brent Daniels redemption game as well as a legacy game, but I love that. And Barzano pops on.
Yes.
Andrews, Hogan, Taylor Danaher, tasty matchups everywhere.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Harris Andrews and, like, just that ability for them to sort of swing big dudes-ish around to that sort of big, like the GWS forward line is so potent at times. It can also go completely MIA though, right? If Hogan's
the middle part of the season, yeah.
If Hogan's not firing, who knows what's going to happen. But the Taylor Danaher one is awesome as well. We haven't really even talked about the GWS defense up against
Sam Taylor, Jack Buckley, just
Buckley.
Awesome, yeah.
Let's go. I like this. So in terms of the best bet tip vibe, that's the same game multi.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything else that you want to stick to, I mean, do you want to back Toby Green? Do you feel good about him?
I do, yeah. He's not really, he hasn't even featured in our multi, but maybe some of the odds and things like that. But I'm happy to back him. Just 15 and 2 goals. I think that's a real Toby sort of game, but he could surpass that and have a bit of a legacy game.
Nice one. What about you, Leo? Any vibes?
I like Ashcroft for 20 plus.
I do like that.
Maybe a little dabble in the 25 as well, but 20 to play it safe.
Interesting. Good one. All right, the big questions, or the big question, because this is both this is such a good big question because it's very big and it's for both teams. If both teams play at their best, who's better? That's such a simple.
That is a great way.
That could be the best thing I've ever come up with on this show.
That is actually.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Great job.
I'm off.
It only took him 2 years, but he did something good. I'm very proud of your stats, man.
Got to do something at some point. Thank you. We got to answer it, or are we just going to keep talking about
this? No,
it's such a great question that we shouldn't answer.
That can never be answered until they play the game.
No, we can answer it.
If they play their best, I think GWS. I just don't trust Brisbane to play. If they're playing at their best at the they're not at the Gabba.
But their best is kicking straight, though.
Sure. That's my point. So my point in this question is, I think at their best, Brisbane are better, but at their finals best, so I'm just sort of contradicting myself again, at their finals best, GWS have proven to be better. But if both teams just bring their absolute best and kick straight, then I'd be backing Brisbane.
GWS win.
But in terms of who I believe in, I'm leaning towards GWS.
I think if the likes of Hogan and Green are firing, you've got Brent Daniels doing stuff, you've got that backline playing at his best, I kind of just trust GWS more.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, but at their best, I think Brisbane.
So it turned out to be a pretty bad question.
A few more comments. Bo says hi. Thank you for jumping on, Bo. Oh, he's
jumped on to say hi again. He's like, say hi back, idiots.
It's Marcus,
okay, Bo.
Marcus has gone, could be the third talls and smalls that win the game. That's a very good point. Big call from Did the Swans win? Dano 3+ out in the full.
Can you bet on that?
TopSport, we can chuck something on there for TopSport.
Buckley gets a Backman medal for saving Isaac's head, and for that Giants. For that, the Giants deserve the win.
Yeah.
So Good Bloke of the Week is an award we give away on NFL Australia each week. Good Bloke of the Week.
Jack Buckley.
Buckley runs away with that last week for saving Heaney's life, basically, at that
pretty
point.
much.
So.
Oh, Bo, I'll shout you out, Bo.
Yes,
I like you, Bo.
Balzano points out Brisbane kicked 8 goals, 16 in the last meeting to GWS's 13-4. I remember watching that game and going, I don't know how they're losing this game. They did. With all this said, I think it's just so much of a big ask for the Brisbane Lions to get this.
Agreed.
But if there was ever a time to start swinging that the wrong way around, right, and just going, we can win away from home. See, it's not at the G. You don't have the Melbourne thing hanging over your head. You're playing against GWS at NG in front of 23,000 people. It's not a wildly imposing arena to go into and win.
No.
And we've seen them play like a weird, scrappy game that they probably should have already won against them this year, even though they got their heads kicked in one other time. So I think this game is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be tight. I think GWS win it. I've got them by 14, and I sort of went back and forth with I think we had GWS 30+ in the comments earlier on. And as Scrubbo points out, last meetup, GWS didn't lead on the scoreboard until 12 minutes remaining in the fourth.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was a crazy game.
Lions should have won, yeah.
I just think GWS at home, Tom Green, more of the ball.
Yep.
We haven't even mentioned Caniglio and Kelly
Lockie
and
Neal.
Whitfield and stuff.
Yeah.
This sort of midfield group at GWS, I just feel like they're just that little bit more reliable.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with
especially at home. And with the Lions away, I just can't do it. So GWS by 14. Stats boy.
Yeah, very similar. Giants by 12. I think just too good. I think this is going to be really close. I originally had it a lot more, I think similar to you. And then the more we talked it out, the more we talked about in the midweek Madness show. If Brisbane play near their best, this is going to be really close, but Giants can just get over the line. That tsunami in the last quarter, they're going to be too quick for them.
Picked both games by 12 points.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think that's going to happen.
Nice. I think Giants by 4.
Okay.
So, one thing as well last week with Brisbane, I know they were up 60-0. Sorry to bring that up again, Jim. But they kind of they didn't convince me from that point. I don't know. They're just sort of don't put the foot on the gas or have patches in games where they're not playing their best. And I know they're probably all right, we're not going to lose from here. But
is this where I get to point out if, as I said in the little video that I did on Sunday, if Pitto marks that Carlton would kick 3 goals to start the third quarter.
He's only had a chance.
Pitto misses a bloody chest mark. It goes back inside 50. The momentum instead, Brisbane go back up the other way, kick a goal. It's a complete momentum killer. If the Blues had have kicked that goal or another inside 50 then, stop that one from happening.
Gave him a scare.
Who knows? Everybody was so ready to turtleneck of the Lions fans. They're just oh my God, what is happening? And all the Blues fans are fake fans, let's go. And I'm Tropical Jim just going, this is great. I don't know what's happening. But then it goes the other way. And that's kind of the thing, right? I think this Lions team, there's
lapses in games.
a lack of killer instinct. And that sort of
quarter efforts.
Every time they're putting it out on the full, kicking 8 goals, 16. It's an exact sort of like damning sort of the next array of examples, right? It's like every time it happens, you're like, yeah, they lack heart. They lack grit.
Yeah.
They're too fancy. They live in too warm a clime. I don't know. Like but it's something that is almost inbuilt into this team. And away from home in the finals, like you could see it just biting them once more, right? So
definitely.
If this was at the Gabba, I'd be tipping Brisbane. It's at GWS. I'm going to tip them.
Nice.
Tricky one. We got other vibes here. They aren't as good as they were last year, says Rahil.
Or Lions, no.
Lions, probably not.
Their back half has been good, but definitely not as good, yeah.
And there we go. All right. We've all tipped GWS. I don't know about this. I don't like
Galaxy
this
Brain.
It's tough when there's
Galaxy Brain.
No.
Brisbane by 60 plus. No, my first initial thing, obviously, as I walked out of the Gabba the other day, was
Brisbane
having watched
enough,
GWS at Arvo.
And
it's
then
like,
they look so
they're
much
gonna
better,
kill
yeah.
them, like, what are we doing? So
Yeah.
I've got to stick with that in my stupid Galaxy brain.
There's only 2 games. We can't be different.
Exactly. All right, let's do it. Big call for the weekend ahead. What are we looking at? I'm going to go Toby Green 4+. I think he gets off the chain, pulls a Heen man, wins the game off his own back. GWS into another prelim. Off we go. I think even though Starcevic has done such a great job on him in the past, like I feel like Toby Green doesn't have 2 crummy finals in a row. Like maybe.
No, I agree.
And I feel like this might be the one where he goes bang. Leo, you got one?
Port jump Hawks, 5-goal lead at quarter time.
Oof.
You're trying to moz him 100%.
Yes, no.
No, I know. You're just being honest.
I think it'll be, to add to this, I think Zach Butters will have 30 disposals and 1 or 2 goals, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
I think Rosie will hit the scoreboard. I think Horn Francis will hit the scoreboard. And I think it's literally just going to be those 3 going like, we are the team. There's no distance.
No
we
one else.
are the team.
We'll just do everything.
Who are we kicking to? Dixon? No, we're going for goal. Like,
I think
we
that's
are
smart.
the
It
team.
works better. Like that's
Literally.
fine.
Dixon can be a decoy, yeah.
And the other thing is, I think at some point the size might come back to impact us, but that plays a factor as well.
Yeah,
like
fair
that.
enough.
I'm putting a little bit of the moz on. I'm a bit
I think
nervous.
big one.
You are just full moz. You're
Scrubbo
more-
says, imagine hedging your bets on your own team. You're spot on, Scrubbo.
I love hedging.
I'm not
bets.
going to bet on
hedging.
Port.
Happiness is great, but at the same time, like there is a line that I continuously use rather. Leo is now more moz than boy, and away we go.
Leo Mazzalali.
Jeez. How many drinks? No, I'm joking.
The vibe here, though, I think you hit on an interesting part that we didn't really talk too much about. Like Butters, Rosie, and Hornet all love kicking snags.
Yep. And if they can fire,
pop off for 1 or 2, like,
similar to Sydney's
away they
midfield.
go.
Definitely.
Exactly. Stats boy, what's your big call for the weekend?
Oh, I love a bit of Massimo, and this is just to rub it into Essendon fans again. Massimo, 25 plus, 10 score involvement, and a goal on
10
this.
score involvements.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, this is his legacy game. He's going to be best on. It's going to be best.
10 score
Oh, it's got a big call for a reason,
10.
lads. And this is just going to happen. Massimo has had an awesome year. He's been building to this moment. Dominated last time against Port. He's going to be best on ground in a final, even though he's so young.
You can take out the 10 score involvements and it'd still be a big call.
I don't know
that,
why.
right? You don't need
I
to have
wrote
the
down
10
25 and a goal, and I'm like, 10 score involvements. But anyway.
It's good. Now, I believe one of you actually hit your big call last week. It might have been Leo.
Did I? What did I say?
There's a couple of good ones in there.
did I
But
do?
with
I
that
can't
in
remember.
mind, what are we keeping an eye on this weekend?
A lot.
So what did we keep an eye on last week as it pertains to these teams? We talked about the Cats' defense with that Stewart. It was fine. How did they battle the power bigs? The power bigs did not bother the Cats at all.
I think the
right?
power bigs need to battle themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
They look so bad.
How does that work for power against the Hawks? Like, it doesn't bode great for the power.
Yep.
Hawks' defense against the Dogs' offensive weapons, specifically their bigs, right? Turns out that was fine.
Yeah.
Like, Jamara didn't do anything. Norton threatened early, did nothing. Like, Darcy, again, same sort of thing, right? So it feels like that's a nice blueprint to go into this game for the Hawks against the power.
Definitely.
The other way,
Yep, agreed.
Hogan and Green versus whoever the Swans threw at them. It's a bit of a wash. I guess Green, not a great
Hogan
game.
was
Hogan was
really
really good. So, bit of a weird one. And Brisbane's accuracy was the other one that we had.
Nailed
Keep an
that.
eye on.
Every week.
We're just going to keep that for this week. Keep an eye on Brisbane's accuracy. Danaher, Hipwood, Cameron versus Buckley, Taylor, etc. It's a fun matchup. It's a weird matchup. We saw this go pear-shaped for them last time they played this team. That was at home, though, so we'll see what happens. Joey Ducats, what's more likely? He kicks 3 goals or he kicks 3 out on the full? You know?
Yeah, or 3 goals
Both.
3. 3 goals
Honestly,
3 is a
both.
real Joey game. 3 goals 3.
Hipwood, he just did nothing last week.
No.
I didn't even know he played.
Exactly. He was in the back line for a bunch of it too.
Wow.
Right at the
Oh, yeah,
end.
I forgot about that.
Right at the end he was too. And Chucky Cameron, I mean, he had a couple of big ones, but same time, Brisbane's accuracy is going to be massive. GWS, the question for them, keep an eye on, how do they bounce back from that heartbreak? It's always really hard
That's
to
tough.
play a game
Because
that
you're like,
tough.
are we really bad?
So
That's what I'd be thinking.
we had that game won. We won that game. And then Isaac Heaney decided that we did not. And you're like, that's not fair. We're 22 people. He's but one man. And he's like, but one man I am. I'm Heen Man. And away he went. So how do they do that? How does the GWS crowd back them up? Like, how does all this sort of like...
Crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no one going there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like, how can they get the tsunami fired up in front of 23,000 people? Like,
Yep.
Is it going to work? How do they go? Hawks speed at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Like
Because
that-
Port looked so slow last week.
Exactly. They gave up at halftime, Port.
Yeah.
Will they do that again? Ken's out of a job if they do. And away we go. Will they fight to save Ken one more time, that power team? We hit on that earlier. Will they? That was a team that, like, body language expert. Gross. At halftime. Like,
I know,
they
they
were
were
showing
just like,
heads down. They walked out.
Sad.
Rosie had like 2.5 good minutes and then just stunk it up the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And it was bad. So do they get that again? Let's find out. And my favourite, Ginnivan's response. Oh, Jack Ginnivan, what's he going to do? How's he going to... All he did was go, yep, see you at the prelim. Sick man. And everyone's just like, oh,
Was
what
cocky.
an
What do you
idiot."
mean by response? He played well last week.
No, I guess the response to the furor,
media,
the media
backlash
beat up.
and all that. Yeah. But he lives for that. So
He'll be fine.
yeah,
I love it.
He'll be fun.
As long as he kicks a goal for that multi, we're laughing.
Yes.
All right. Anything else that you gentlemen would like to keep an eye on?
I think you've hit the nail on the
Done
head.
well there, Jim.
Well done.
I like footy. I like talking about it.
I like
Too
it.
bad it's ending soon.
I love footy.
Got a few more comments though if we want to end on that. Scrubbo
Alright.
goes, in my opinion, Chol had a flat week. Yeah, I think in everyone's opinion. I think he'll fire up and challenge for Mark of the Year.
That's a good
From
one.
last
To be fair,
weekend.
he almost took Mark of the Year last week.
Yeah, well, he always goes up for him, but
Was
he
that the
doesn't
one
mark
over
him.
his teammate last week?
Yeah.
Probably. Who
And then
knows?
Power Prawn Star, he's back. Suns looked at Geelong and said, no, we're not going to go for that. Mac Andrew, you own Gold Coast now. What a laugh.
What a laugh.
That is a good laugh.
Ginnivan gets belted in Adelaide. Not bad.
Rahil
Rahil.
said that twice.
Rahil's just all over
He
that.
just wants him to get belted.
Rahil also pointed out Butters gets pushed in the ribs by Newcomb in the first quarter.
Oh,
That
that could definitely happen.
is actually like keep an eye
Little
on.
bump.
Keep an eye on like what sort of treatment Butters gets, I guess. And
Like, you can do legal treatment if you're just going for a little bump or something.
so I do like because we do have Power Prawn Star on the chat. Like I'm fascinated. Like we talked to Simeon yesterday on yesterday's show about the vibe for the Power fans and how it must have been just such a kick in the guts last week after they'd built themselves up. Tom Stewart's not named, and they just get their heads kicked in. Like going to this game against a rampant Hawthorn team, like it is set up for the perfect, like, come from the clouds. No one believed in us, boys.
Yeah, literally.
Here we go. We're back. Port Adelaide, we're second on the ladder for a reason.
Yep.
I'm going to put this out to you, Power Prawn Star. Like, is that the vibe from Powers fans? Like, do you believe it was almost the question, right? Or are you just like, oh, God, not again?
So now we just wait for him to reply.
Yeah, he's got it right.
I think most Power fans are just, they've sucked, the belief's been sucked out of them.
Yeah,
no,
they're
no
wary.
chance. Yeah,
Wary.
there you go.
Nice one. All right. And with that, I think we'll leave the live stream. We'll leave the show because this will be
That's
up
good
as
fun.
the actual podcast itself as well later on, which will be very fun.
Yep.
And of course, you can watch this all again on YouTube. Just watch it again. Just all the biting analysis, and away we go. Whiskey, and it's going to be awesome. But that'll do the AFL Today show for today. We'll be back on Sunday for a huge wrap show.
Get around it.
Fun. I'm a bit worried about how it's like. Are we going to find Leo? Like, just will he be on his way to? Who would you be playing? You'd be
Sydney.
playing Sydney, right? So
On his way to say,
Probably not.
he's on a Treadley, ding 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 ding, all the way up the Hume.
Oh, thanks everyone. Lols Cow, great show as usual.
Thanks,
Brooke
guys, says
Watson.
Brooke.
Thank you very much, Brooke.
Love the support.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it. So, any other comments and everything you want us to hit on for Sunday's show? We won't be live for that, but you can
Cheers,
chuck
Joel.
them in here. We'll address them on Sunday's show as well. Joel, you legend. Thank
Lions
you.
fans,
up the
and down.
Lions to know about that. So, I feel like
Raheel is a savage.
Raheel.
See after Ken gets sacked. I love it. I
It was
love
just
that.
double barrel. This is awesome. So I think the only difference we had in the tip. So I've gone Hawks and GWS.
Leo's
You
the
had-
only difference with
you
Port
did
because he's
Port
a hater.
GWS,
Yeah.
Hawks GWS.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back on Sunday night.
Yes.
Well, Sunday afternoon. It'll be evening by the time the video is probably live, but it'll be awesome. Chucking in comments here, and we will address them on the Sunday show as well. It's going to be a cracking weekend of footy, and I cannot wait. So make sure you subscribe across all the socials for the AFL Today show. What have we got? We've got YouTube, Facey, IG, TikTok, X, all the good stuff.
Yep.
And, of course, all the other shows that we do. We've got a lot of them. The AFL Today show, the AFLW Today show, the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, which is back and flying. NFL Australia, which is week 2, has been previewed. It's a cracking show, myself and Gaz. NBA Australia will be back very soon as well. And Hold All Tickets, the GGs. Alex is all over that one with Xavier. And it's very good. Done by our other producer, homie. So get around him like the squid getting around those twisties and the hot dog at the Gabba that he just deleted. So thank you to both these gentlemen for sticking with me on a Thursday night. The Stats Boy.
Thank you.
And Social Boy.
Go Hawks.
Hawk ball.
Out of 10, how excited are you for this game?
10. I'm so excited.
What are you going to be doing for the game?
Probably just go to the pub.
Which pub?
London Tavern.
We're going to London Tavern, boys!
London Tavern with Guinea. He's going
We'll get Stats Boy dressed up as Guinea again.
No, that's not happening ever
Actually, this is now an AFL Today skit. We're dressing you
The
as
fans
Guinea.
let me down with that.
London
No
Tavern.
views on that video. It was a lot of effort. No,
Anyway,
not happening.
AFL Today show. We'll catch you Sunday for more AFL Today. Until then, look after yourselves. Go Hawk. And footy finals are back.
Yeah!
If you like this show, make sure you check out all the other shows in the Sports Today network, from the AFL Today show to the Cricket Today podcast, the Football Today podcast, as well as NBA Australia and NFL Australia. With Sports Today, your sporting needs have never been easier to cover. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website gamblinghelponline.org.au.